Welcome everyone to another Sunday evening cooking class. I have something really special tonight. When I came home earlier this week, Emily and our girls were working on this really cool dandelion honey, which I had never heard of. So I'm going to do two things with this tonight. I'm going to make a recipe that I learned as a young chef working for Parker Bosley, and I'm going to make a cocktail with the dandelion honey as well. So these are dandelion flowers that have been picked, and the girls pulled all the petals off, and then they do their little process, and when they're all done you get this beautiful kind of syrup that you can use on pancakes or in recipes. So we're going to play with that tonight. What I have for the main course is a couple of chicken breasts. We're going to do pan-seared chicken breasts. This is an old recipe that I learned, like I said, from Parker, and it's got a really cool sauce, which we'll get into in a minute. But we're going to start by getting our pan hot. So for the chicken breast, I guess a couple of the most important things are to make sure we get a good seasoning on the chicken. So we're going to do just salt and pepper, but making sure we get a nice even coating across the chicken. This chicken has been sitting out for about 20 minutes, so it's really helpful to let the meat kind of temper a little bit to room temperature. You don't want to let it sit out too long, but by letting the meat warm a little bit inside, you'll get more even cooking. And it lets the skin dry a little bit, which is going to give us that really nice crispy skin that people love. So we're going to go ahead and season this. Salt and pepper. Make sure to get both sides of the chicken. One trick that I didn't do here that I like to do is I like to season the plate. If you have the chicken resting on a set of paper towels or something, seasoning on the plate, and then you can put your flesh side down, and it keeps your skin nice and dry that way, and it just makes it easier. You don't have to handle the chicken as much. So you get a nice amount of seasoning, and in the pan I'm going to use just a little bit of vegetable oil. So the reasoning behind that is vegetable oil has a higher heating point, higher smoking point. And what's important for the chicken is we don't need flavor from the oil, we don't need butter or olive oil, which you can certainly use. We just need a really good searing temperature so we can get that skin nice and crispy. It takes a little bit of time to finish this chicken in the pan, so we're going to get it started first. I've just got a little bit of vegetable oil. Heat the pan first, and then put the oil in. And we're going to start the chicken skin side down. This skin is going to retract a little bit, which is fine. It's going to shrink a little bit, but by the time we're done, we're going to have a really nice crispy chicken skin on the outside of our breast. Okay. So we've got the chicken going on a medium-high heat. We want a pretty good amount of heat on the pan. We're just going to watch it to make sure it doesn't burn or smoke. And while that's starting to heat up, we're going to make our cocktail. So this is a version of kind of a traditional cocktail. We're going to do a version of a old-fashioned. Instead of using the sugar cube in the glass, we're going to use a little bit of this honey. And so we need, and this is our real bourbon, so I wanted to show this off. With the restaurants closed right now, you can't come into our restaurants and try the real bourbon. This is a really cool project that we did in partnership with Western Reserve, and they are in Lakewood, Ohio. So if you want to taste this bourbon right now, while the dining rooms are closed, you have to go to Western Reserve in Lakewood, and they're selling this retail, so you can take a bottle home. And once we get reopened, I would love to have you guys into the restaurant to try a cocktail. We've got a bunch of great cocktails coming up this spring and summer using the rail bourbon. So we're going to do 2 ounces right in the glass of the rail bourbon. You can do 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces. We're going to do a little bit of this dandelion honey. Maybe a little bit less than a half an ounce, quarter ounce. A couple drops of orange bitters. We're going to give it a little bit of a stir. If you want to, you can stir it on ice and then strain it into a glass with a nice big ice cube. Or you can just add the ice here. And then we're going to garnish with an orange. Try to get that zest to go right in the glass as you're cutting it. There you go. Beautiful old fashioned. A little bit of the dandelion honey. Cheers. All right, we're going to check on our chicken. So let's see if I can show you what this looks like. You can see the chicken breast is plumping up real nice. And our skin is getting nice and crispy. We're going to give it just a few more minutes. Then we're going to change sides. So to go with the chicken breast tonight, we're going to do a couple of side dishes. We're going to do coconut rice, which is very simple. We're using a jasmine rice and equal parts water and coconut milk. So the coconut milk just adds a really nice fragrance to the rice. It's going to be kind of a sweet, simple starch to put next to the chicken. And then I wanted to do something really spicy to go with that. So we're going to do some chickpeas with a little bit of red pepper flakes and garlic. So we'll get a nice kind of oily, spicy chickpea mixture. And then the sauce that I mentioned earlier is a really cool sauce. I saw this the first time when I started working for Parker Bosley, and he did this sauce that was honey and banana as a pan sauce. So after we sear the chicken, we're going to pull the chicken out. We're going to put in a little bit of the banana just real quickly. We're going to use some chicken stock or veal stock if you have a nice rich stock. And then just it's a very quick cooking time. And as soon as it's done, we're going to put a couple pats of butter in there and a little bit of fresh thyme. It just makes this really cool sauce. The one that I learned with Parker was made with honey. And so we're going to use the dandelion honey today, which I think is going to give it a really cool flavor. So we'll do that at the very end. The chicken looks great. It's making a little bit of a mess here, but we're going to turn them over. Typically, for a chicken like this, we're going to pan sear it, and we're going to have to finish it in the oven because it's not going to cook all the way through. So we're going to get a good sear on the bottom side without drying it out. We'll transfer it to a pan and put it in the oven to finish cooking. So while the chicken is finishing and before we put that in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and start the chickpeas. This is a very simple recipe. We're going to do 1 can of chickpeas that have been strained, a couple tablespoons of olive oil, some garlic, some red pepper flakes, a little salt and pepper, and I'm going to put a little dash of hot sauce in it. So we're using Old Dirty Sheep hot sauce, which you can find at local Roots Market here in Worcester. This is our friend Josh, who makes an awesome hot sauce. So just to give it a really, I want it to be a little bit oily, a little bit of liquid left with the chickpeas. It's going to really add to that rice mixture. So if I was just cooking the chicken, I would put the whole pan right in the oven, but since we want to use this pan to make our pan sauce, I'm going to transfer just the chicken breast. Into the oven to finish cooking. You can see we got a really nice sear on the chicken, nice crispy skin. Didn't go too hard on the bottom side because we don't want to dry the chicken out. So we'll let that finish at about 325 degrees into our oven. So into the oven the chicken goes. We're going to drain our oil from the pan. We don't need that oil. And we're going to let our pan stay warm for the sauce, but we don't need to start it quite yet. So let's go ahead and get these chickpeas going. About 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Again, a good amount of olive oil because we want the chickpeas to be nice and saucy when they're done. We're going to do our garlic next. I cut the garlic kind of chunky. I like it a little bit coarse. I like to see those garlic pieces in the final mixture. So not too fine for me on the garlic. And it doesn't take long in the pan. We're just going to give it a couple minutes. Maybe less than a minute, 30 seconds or so, and then we're going to put the chickpeas in right in the pan. garlic smells so good. Let that garlic toast for just a second, and then we'll go in with the chickpeas. So unlike the chicken breast, where we're searing it in that vegetable oil, in this application we do want the flavor of the olive oil. The garlic is just starting to color a little bit, so I'm going to put the chickpeas in. That's going to cool the pan down. We're going to go down to a little bit lower heat, a little red pepper flakes. 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and again, I want it to be real spicy. I'm going to put a little more olive oil. Now we're going to let that cook on just a low heat while we wait for the chicken to finish. So we've got probably about 8 more minutes on the chicken, and then we'll come back and take a look at making our pan sauce together. Okay, chickpeas smell really good. You can smell that garlic, you can smell the spice from the chili. The chicken is just about done, so we're going to get started on the sauce. And back here I have the coconut rice, which I didn't show on the video, but I'll include the recipe. Very easy to make. And then I do have one thing hidden back here in the back of the stove, something really fun. This is just the very first asparagus from the garden. So we're going to heat that up with just a little bit. I blanched the asparagus in salt water and then chilled it in ice water, so you get this really nice tender asparagus. And I'm just going to warm it up with a little bit of butter, salt, and pepper. So that's just a little treat for the side of the plate. So to get our sauce going here, we're going to get our pan nice and hot again. And because the sauce is finished with butter, I'm going to use butter as kind of the fat to sort of saute the banana. So 1 tablespoon of butter going in the pan. We're going to watch that to make sure it doesn't get too hot and smoke. And we're just going to use 1 banana, which is enough for probably 2 to 3 portions of sauce. So just going to slice it right in the pan. So I left the slices of the banana fairly thick. By having a little bit of a thicker cut, we can let the banana heat in the pan without it getting too mushy. So it really does not take long. We don't want the banana to turn to mush. We want to have chunks of banana that spoon onto the chicken. It's almost like starting banana foster. It smells so good. And then we're going to go into the pan next. It's going to be a little bit of dark chicken stock, so like a reduced chicken stock. The nice thing about using that broth is it's going to pull all the caramelization off the bottom of the pan. So where we seared that chicken breast and the skin, all that flavor stuck to the pan, and that broth just pulls it right up. We're going to give it just about 30 seconds to a minute to reduce a little bit. And then we're going to put 1 tablespoon of butter in there, swirl it around. That's going to be our sauce. And just a little bit of fresh thyme at the end to finish. So the pan is plenty hot. I'm going to turn it off so you can see. You can see how that's starting to reduce. Bananas are still intact. And actually, to get these chickpeas to sauce up a little bit, I'm going to add a little chicken stock here. So 1/4 cup of chicken stock in with the chickpeas, a couple dashes of hot sauce, our fresh thyme, okay, chickpeas are done. Emily just kindly pointed out I forgot the dandelion honey, so the main ingredient. We're going to just put 2 good tablespoons of this in here. And bring that back to simmer just to mix those ingredients together. And I think we're about ready. So the chickpeas look really good. Tell they're nice and tender. You can see the little flecks of red pepper flakes in there. Check it for salt and pepper. Oh, really good. Really good. A little salt and pepper. We'll set that aside. Okay, I think we're ready to plate this. So let's make room here. Start with the rice. When you use that coconut milk, you can just get this really nice fragrance. It smells so good, but the flavor itself is not overpowering, so that's really nice. I'm going to do a little bit of our chickpeas. Breast. Our asparagus here, just beautiful green asparagus right from the garden. And finish it off with our sauce. Bit of that thyme in there. Beautiful. There you have it. Chicken with dandelion honey and banana, asparagus, spicy chickpeas, and coconut rice. Enjoy.